Wednesday edition, Mr. Relevant, episode 305. Good to be back with you after I was on assignment. I did not have a hangnail, despite popular belief on Monday. I was working. But thanks for filling in anyway. Josh DiMaggio is here. Will Sommers is here. Hunter Vaughn is here. Alex Strouf with you on this Wednesday of the Packers bye week. MLB playoffs in full swing. Plenty to get into today. But I just want to set the record straight. I did not have a hangnail.
Yeah, that's on me. I meant hemorrhoid.
Got him.
Hand up. Apologies.
You know what? That was good on you. How'd you know?
HIPAA.
Yeah, hey, what's up with HIPAA around here? I saw you tweeting about it. Well, I'm not breaking HIPAA. I was saying you're out because of a hangnail. No, I was at Milwaukee Bucks Media Day on Monday. Some of our content already out, more to come from our time spent over at Fiserv Forum ahead of the NBA season. But yeah, they conveniently scheduled it right after the Packers had a 40-40 tie on Sunday Night Football.
We did it. We handled it.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I even saw some people saying it was the greatest show ever. So
now take that with a grain of salt. That was Will's father.
That's true.
Unbiased opinion.
Unbiased opinion,
right,
yeah, definitely.
He's a straight shooter. He's going to tell it like it is. I was a little uncomfortable. It was enemy territory. One Bears fan and one Victor, Dallas Cowboys fan, who I don't know if you saw my post I sent out yesterday.
I did.
But I think Jerry Jones, the Cowboys, and Cowboys fans have every right to treat it as if it's a tie but a win. And it seems like everybody who's a Packers fan or involved with the Packers, be it their coach or their players, all are taking it as a tie but it's a loss.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to give them grace. I think they should. The Cowboys should take it as a win. The Packers should take it as a loss because expectations matter. And the expectation was not for the Cowboys to even be in that game, let alone tie in that game. And the expectation for Packers fans was not to go in there and bring that game into overtime, let alone even have it be close. It was supposed to be a blowout win. And that's something we talked plenty about on Friday when Hunter said he wasn't going to watch the game. I did pull the card of saying, hey, Hunter, turn the damn game on. The Cowboys are winning in the fourth quarter. And he said, you're messing with me. And I had to send him a picture of my television. Which I'm not sure if you guys unpacked it all on Monday's show, but yeah,
we did to a degree. Hunter accused us of being bad fans.
Bad friends. I think you guys were bad friends because
that we didn't tell him earlier.
Yeah, I feel like you guys should have been telling me earlier.
Nah,
no, that's not what that you can't change what you told me to do after what you told me to do. You told me to not let you know until the fourth quarter.
And it was like late into the fourth quarter when you told me?
No, there was 11 minutes left. It was 23-20. It went into overtime at 37-37. There was still a bunch of points scored after that.
I think you guys should have told me sooner when the game was going like that.
You can't change your mind after telling me what to do. That's not how that works.
Or you could actually be a good friend and say, hey, you know what? I know this is what you told me, but I need to look out for you. I need to be helpful to you. Instead, you were a jerk and you waited late. You should have told me sooner.
If it were up to me,
You accused me of lying. If anybody's the jerk here, it's you.
If it were up to me, I would have never texted you, and you would have never known until after the fact.
Yeah, and I wish that's what would have happened now, given the way he's acting right now. Spoiled brat.
Bad friend.
Barry Alvarez called Cowboys fans spoiled brats, not Wisconsin Badgers fans. A couple of things rolling in already on the ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison YouTube chats. Dr. Denver Dan says, Strouf texted on Monday, yeah, man. I got a rash. Matthew says Josh was great the other day. Does that mean he's not great other days? Josh, you should view that as offensive, personally, if I was you.
I'm not offended. I appreciate the compliment from Matt.
When the lights were shining bright, we were down a man. He stepped up.
That's what he always does. It's what he's done all year. It's been the year of Josh DiMaggio. When anything's gone awry, Josh is there to save the day. He's our hero around here. And he's rightfully earned that nickname. So
just don't forget it.
I'm still not really over it, though. I did come into work today, and the first thing I said to you, Josh, do you remember what I said to you as soon as I got to work today? It was the first thing I said.
I'm not grumpy anymore.
I think I said crabby, but yeah, same idea. Yeah. Because I got to be honest with you, I was pissed off on Monday and I was pissed off on Tuesday, and it was strictly related to what happened on Sunday Night Football. Maybe there were a few, other things that played into that, but like none as big of a detractor to my mood than a tie on Sunday Night Football. It's 11:40. This game's ending at 40-40, and I still got to stay up because I got to watch Matt LaFleur. And by God, I'm not saying related to my occupation, though it's helpful for my occupation. It was more so for my fan brain to understand what the hell I just watched. And even 3 days removed, I'm less grumpy, but I'm still confused as all hell on what went down on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. The Packers seemingly were in control of that game up until the blocked extra point. Mm-hmm. And then Jordan Love, untimely end-of-half turnover for the second half in a row, where he fumbles. That leads to a Cowboys touchdown. They can double dip that. It was just all messy. And while I thought Jordan overall was good on Sunday, it was a bad fumble. And look, it's going to happen. I get it. And frankly, I'd rather have that at the end of the first half than the end of the second half, like you saw in Cleveland with the interception. But untimely turnover that led to the opposing team scoring points and getting back in the game and pulling it within the field goal. Ironically, it was, I think, just about the same score. It was 13-9 rather than 13-10 against Cleveland. And then the second half was just messy, points galore, no defenses, on the field, despite being on the field. You couldn't tell, given the back and forth scoring nature of that second half. And then that last drive is just disastrous. And Matt LaFleur was asked about it again yesterday. And while I usually look for the head coach to make me feel better about things, yeah, I don't think this can make anybody feel better. Not even Matt LaFleur himself. Jason Wilde, Matt LaFleur yesterday at Matt LaFleur's press conference, talking about that final drive for the Green Bay Packers in overtime.
Jordan comes off after the incompletion that leaves the 1 second left, and you're not ranting and raving and yelling at him, but you can see on the TV you talk to him. So what's the message there?
Yeah, I don't even know, because it was like watching a slow motion car crash in front of your face, where I'm just looking at the clock and I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be no time left. I mean, it's a very humbling experience to go through that, and it's unacceptable, quite honestly. So, and there's nothing we can do about it now other than we better learn from it, everybody. I'm sure it'll be a teach tape for around the league, to be honest with you.
I love, we're all in college, at least in some capacity. And, when you're rolling to class, 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., you're rolling to your early class and you're getting out of bed and you're like, I don't really want to do this. But then you see that guy maybe missing a shoe or socks, looks very disheveled, maybe hungover. He's kind of taking what we have always referred to as the walk of shame. That's what Matt LaFleur sounded like yesterday. He sounded ashamed. He didn't sound like a proud football coach of a team that scored 40 points on Sunday. He sounded like a dude who rolled out of a bed he's ashamed of and had to take a mile trek home. That's what he sounded like at the podium 2 days removed from the Packers' tie with the Dallas Cowboys. And, yeah, you should be ashamed, because that's a game you never should have lost, let alone tied. I guess tied, let alone lost. You tied that game. And that should have never been the situation on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. It had some walk of shame feel to it when he's talking about how this will be a coaching point at league-wide this week, because it was that unacceptable of an end of game, period. And, trying to understand what the hell went wrong the last 2 days, talking to Mark Tauscher, talking to Brian Bulaga, talking to John Anderson, talking to Jason Wilde, talking to people that, frankly, know those situations better than I do. Nobody has an answer. I mean, we talked with Bulaga on Monday on KBN about how Aaron Rodgers was always barking at guys. Get to the line, get to the line, get up to the line, get set, let's go. You didn't really see that emotion out of Jordan Love. And what Jason Wilde was referring to there was that when McManus went on and Love came off, it wasn't LaFleur chewing him out. It was LaFleur actually confused on what he just witnessed. It's like the team had never practiced the 2-minute drill before. And while the offense scoring 40 points is a good sign, given the 10 they scored in Cleveland, still, it just leaves a nasty taste in my mouth. I'm not crabby anymore, though. But hearing that from Matt LaFleur, it's like a slow motion car crash. I don't know how you feel any better 3 days removed after hearing your head coach explain it as a slow motion car crash, Joshy.
I'm going to take a different approach to this than you, because it seems like you're placing most of the blame at the feet of Jordan Love. And I think this was an utter bungling and disaster from Matt LaFleur.
So, hold on, because I agree with you. And I am placing more on Love in the overtime scenario. There's enough blame to go around. Let's make it very clear.
I'm placing it almost solely at the feet of Matt LaFleur. I think his response and the long dialogue he gave on what happened from the point of the 2-minute warning on, and then right before the 1 second remaining on the clock field goal to tie the game and end it in tie. I've been considering a couple things here. I've been considering that one, Matt LaFleur is being dishonest about what took place. I'm considering, did he and did everyone know that a touchdown would win and end the game? I'm considering the fact of, is what he's telling us different than what actually took place? Because he references, Jason asks him about in that clip, why weren't you more mad? Mm-hmm. I think he wasn't more mad because he wanted the clock run down. They just got a little too close to the sun. And I don't think at any point they had the intention of going and winning that football game. And I think now they realize what a mistake that was. Because either he doesn't want to admit they were playing for a tie and okay with the game ending in a tie, or he didn't know that there was a touchdown scenario that would effectively end the game and not give them the ball back. Because how do you explain so he says in a longer clip, from the Romeo Dobbs catch, that is when they're supposed to be in warp speed 2-minute drill. Mm-hmm. It's different than no huddle. It's faster than no huddle. It is, we got to go, 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 go. They called 2 more plays. One of them a run play, which I think is important because if you are trying to preserve clock, you typically don't choose run plays just because of how long they take. And an incompletion there stops the clock, so it is an advantage. Then they, because what happens is that the Matthew Golden swing pass, screen, tunnel screen, whatever they call it, they call a timeout from there. So 2 plays, a timeout. And Matt LaFleur never mentions, hey guys, I don't think we're moving fast enough. That slipped his mind.
He said after the game, had we known that, which I don't know what that was,
right,
we would have gone faster.
Right.
So I don't think he's outright lying, but I think there was confusion on the overtime
And I
rules.
think there was, yes, or there was confusion on, like, what exactly would be the best approach for them as a team and as an offense. Mm-hmm. Because they are walking a tightrope there. A turnover ends the game. A field goal ties it, but if you leave too much time, there is a scenario where they get the ball back.
Oh boy, and I didn't pull this, but I didn't even want to talk about this. They were scared of their kicker.
Yes, they were.
They were scared of the Cowboys kicker. And don't get me wrong, Brandon Aubrey's a weapon. Brandon Aubrey's a weapon.
We ain't scared of no kickers.
I think they're also scared of their own special teams coverage, too.
Yes.
They were playing scared last week of Myles Garrett.
Yep.
They played scared of the kicker yesterday, or on Sunday.
Yes. Very clearly. Matt LaFleur might not have admitted that.
He kind of did, actually, in his press conference yesterday. He said, yeah, we didn't want to leave them too much clock because they could get a field goal in one play.
Yeah.
I think the analogy he uses, too, of the slow motion car crash is so interesting because I think what he's trying to describe is that feeling of like helplessness where you realize you're going to get into the car accident and there's nothing you can do to get out of the way. But he's the one that put them in that situation where they were like,
he's
effectively
the guy,
out of control.
He's the guy that can signal from the sidelines because how many times have we seen it this year already? When Matt LaFleur notices they're doing a late substitution and they have a play call in and they can get to the line, a signal gets sent to Jordan Love, go and get the snap off because we're going to, that's clearly what happens. So his ability to do that exists. That's one way you can communicate. Also, the in-ear headset that Jordan Love has in his headphones. At no point does he say, tell everyone to hurry the F up. He doesn't say that. And then timeout, he doesn't mention, hey, we're really close to running out of time here.
The feeling of the helpless car crash is because Matt LaFleur couldn't decide if he wanted to take a left turn before the next car was coming the other way.
There are games that I have trouble getting over.
Yes.
And this one might be exacerbated because...
There's no way you just did that again.
Try that one again.
Can I do it? Can I correct him? I don't get this opportunity very often.
Do it, Will.
Exacerbated?
That's what I said. Exacerbated.
He's asturbated.
Exacerbated.
Exacerbated.
What are these words?
So there's something
I was about to make a really good point, but it's fine. Go ahead.
You're saying the wrong. It's not a word.
It's not a word.
All right, let me try again.
The word you typically put master in front of, it doesn't end the same way. And that's what you're doing, to make it clear. So your great point.
So there's no B?
No.
Exacerbated.
Exacerbated.
No, there is a B.
Exacerbated.
Exacerbated. That's what I said.
There's a C. I think you're missing the C.
Yes.
Exacerbated. I think I'm adding a T.
Yes. You're adding a T.
Oh, exacerbated.
Yes.
Isn't it exacerbated?
You said exacerbated.
Yeah, isn't that the word?
No.
All right. Can I try again?
I'm disturbed.
Can I try again? All right. Sometimes I have a hard time getting over games. Mm-hmm. I think this one is exacerbated because there's not a game this weekend to make me feel better.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know that I'm going to get over this one for the rest of the season because it was that disappointing in so many facets of what we thought this team was. Now, again, I think it was an impressive offensive performance. Granted, they were playing the worst pass defense in the league.
The offense who has made both Russell Wilson and Caleb Williams look like MVPs.
But again, I don't really care about all that. I don't care about what else they've done. I cared about the Packers leaving Cleveland looking as poor as they did offensively and just having a game before the bye where they can look great.
I do think the context matters.
Sure, because you're right. If they would have scored 17 points,
right,
and the offense looked completely at a stalemate all day against the Cowboys defense, then sure, there'd be concerns. So yeah, the fact they scored 40 points against the Cowboys is not going to be the most impressive offensive feat this season, I hope. But at this point, it probably is. But it was a get right game in the sorts of you needed Jordan Love to look really good before the bye, and that hadn't happened yet. He'd been good, but you wanted him to look really good, and I thought for the most part on Sunday he did look really good outside of the 2-minute drill and the fumble, which obviously both played crucial roles in this game, but that's neither here nor there.
I think that fumble to me is, how do you end up in a spot as a head coach where you have two backups in, there's 25 seconds left, you just took a penalty to push you further back, and you say, let's go for it, but previously on 4th and 2 in their territory, you didn't go for that.
Yeah, and
you didn't even have the thought of going for it.
Yes, Jordan Love can't turn the ball over there. Can't happen.
Yeah, but again,
but it's not like he had pressure in his face and he watched it.
So on that fumble, here's where I struggle with it. Because
it was Darian Kennard, was it not?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I struggle with it because we want LaFleur to be aggressive. And in that case, he was. And it seems like, and we've talked about this before with LaFleur prior to this game, Joshy, it seems like when we want him to be conservative, he goes aggressive. And when he goes aggressive, we want him to be conservative. Yes. And this was another example of that. But I appreciate the attempt for aggressiveness. Because that would have made the game 21-2 had they scored a touchdown, or 17-2 had they kicked a field goal.
I always want coaches and offensive play callers to be more aggressive than that.
I agree with that.
But I do think there is context that matters. Like the decision to go aggressive on 3rd and 2 against the Browns, which then ended in a interception, to me didn't make sense because the Browns offense had yet to move the ball. Mm-hmm. And in that scenario, you go, hey, we could probably, or we have a chance of getting this as a run play, probably just as much as a pass play at this situation with the way our offense is going. Mm-hmm. Why would we not, in this situation, just run it, play ball security, and then trust the defense who's made Joe Flacco look pedestrian?
Yeah.
Then you fast forward to a early game situation, first half, 4th and 2 on their side of the ball. They're a good offense, but here we have an opportunity to really put it to them, to give us a distinct advantage. We are in plus territory. It's not going to be as damaging if this were to happen on the other side of the 50. He then decides to not go for it. And then moments later, after getting pushed back even further than you originally intended, with only 25 seconds left on the clock, he decides, let's call some verts here and try and get a big chunk gain to get us in field goal position. All three of those decisions were the wrong ones he made at the wrong time.
You're out on the floor, aren't you?
Big time.
Yeah, I can tell.
I do have, I stock up to the bye week on Monday. I have a good stat. So I stock up the bye week because I think they need a reset. A certain team last year was 2-2 going into a week 5 bye week, then rattled off 10 straight wins after the week 5 bye and won the Super Bowl last year. Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, so I'm glad you bring that up because I think this is actually very comparable. Here's why. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl and rattle off 10 straight wins after the bye. But at the week 5 point of last season, all the chatter out of Philadelphia was that Nick Sirianni needed to go and that Nick Sirianni wasn't cut out for the job he was in.
To be clear, I'm not going that far.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
But you are, I don't want to say out on the floor, but you are down, very big time down on
Correct.
the floor. And trust me, and I know you don't need to hear this from me for validation, but I know you are not alone. In fact, you might even be in the majority by being down on the floor. I struggle by saying I'm out or I'm down on the floor because I don't think the last 2 weeks are indicative of the head coach he is. I just don't. I think he's a better head coach. Has he had his problems with time management? Yes, he has. And it's year 7, so you better start learning from it sooner than later. But I'm not going to bring up the excuse that I've banned from the show, but I'm going to bring it up. They are the youngest team in the league. And I don't think that's an excuse for tying that game on Sunday. I just don't.
I think
you have a 6th-year quarterback who needs to be better in that situation.
I think that excuse or explanation is fine and it's understandable. But in that situation, that makes a head coach even more important. I would love if Jordan would have taken control and said, hey, even though this guy isn't getting us into the correct 2-minute drill, I got to do it here. I'm also not convinced, and no one has said this, no one has admitted to it, but I'm not convinced they weren't told to go that slow.
No, I'm not either.
Right. Matt LaFleur made it seem like that was lack of communication or miscommunication. I think there's a potential we need to drain the clock as much as possible was communicated. And then, sure, he might have decided this is when we flip, but he sure didn't stress it at every opportunity he had then thereafter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. So, look, it's troublesome. I get why there's LaFleur doubters. I do believe, to Will's point, which I'm glad you brought that up, Will. Thanks for doing that. It's good context about good football teams. It's the first quarter of the season.
Yes, they struggle. I'm down on the floor. I'm not out on him.
Because I think, you've seen the whole picture. This is a good head coach. And we took a lot of phone calls on the floor this week across all of our shows. We have. Frankly, he's a hot button topic for a reason because it has not been his brightest showing through the first quarter of the season as we enter the bye week. But I want to make something clear on Matt LaFleur. I do believe he's a good play caller. I do believe he's a good offensive mind. Mm-hmm. I don't think he gets enough credit for revitalizing Aaron Rodgers' career because he did. He helped him win 2 more MVPs. The job that Matt LaFleur took, it was a hire not a lot of people liked because he was an unproven offensive mind.
Weren't they the 29th offense in Tennessee?
I think it was 27th.
Yeah.
It was. They were like a bottom 5, bottom 6 group in Tennessee the one year he was the offensive coordinator there. So it was a hire that a lot of people didn't understand. But I think very quickly us as Packers fans went, oh, okay, maybe Mark Murphy does know a thing or two about hiring a head coach. They go on to be the 1 seed. They go on to have the best record in football several years in a row. They go on to win the NFC North and continue their terror there after a year or two off. And it seemed like LaFleur was helping turn this thing around. And then we got to the ultimate.
I do think it's important to mention, because we've got a thread that we're pulling throughout this entirety of this. Matt LaFleur's first year, they get the first round bye. They are in an NFC championship game.
19 they were, yes.
He then makes the fateful decision.
That was San Francisco.
To kick a field goal down 1 score to stay.
Yeah, make a 1-score game, 1-score game.
Which goes to decision making.
And game management.
Yes.
And then 2020, they were the 1 seed again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were.
No, 19 they got blown out by San Francisco. 2020 was the Tampa Bay 1-score game, a 1-score game.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Regardless, they get back there 2020, Tampa Bay. Again, I think Aaron Rodgers gets some criticism for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt LaFleur does too, because that was a game they were in and probably should have won. That is the game that is probably second to the Seattle NFC Championship loss that makes me the most depressed as a Packers fan, because that felt like their best chance to get there.
Scotty Miller.
Yeah, burning. And
Kevin
King. Yeah, Kevin King game. So, and then, I mean, the real test for Matt LaFleur was 23.
Mm-hmm.
It's the youngest team in the league, and that year I will allow you to use that as an excuse. It's the who is Jordan Love year? What can he be? And I thought Matt LaFleur did a terrific job of elevating him in that offense after a kind of a weird start. And they had some weird losses in there, too, even in the stretch where Love was so great at the end of the year. But winning a playoff game with that group is a huge feather in his cap in the fashion in which they did. And they were in that game with San Francisco in the divisional round, who ended up winning the NFC. Last year, there were some highs and lows with LaFleur, but I think a significant high that he deserves credit for again is what he did with Malik Willis on short notice. They won back-to-back games with Malik Willis at quarterback just a couple weeks after they acquire him via trade with Tennessee. And without those 2 wins, breaking news, the Packers don't make the playoffs last year. And I know they lost in Philadelphia and Jordan Love had some bad plays and yada, yada. But there's not all bad about LaFleur. And I do think he's a really good head coach. And I do think he's going to learn from this. And I think with the bye week and Cincinnati coming to town the following week, this is a team that is still really good, still one of the best in the NFC, still a front runner to win the NFC North, and still a team that should be considered one of the best contenders in the entire league. And they'll get back to that, similarly to how Philadelphia did a year ago. So let's pump the brakes on fire LaFleur, because this guy is still a really good head coach. And I still think he is a guy that could win a Super Bowl with Green Bay. Because I think if he was fired, hypothetically, I think 25 or 26 teams are lining up to get him as their head coach. That's how good of a coach I think he is, and that's how I think he's viewed in the league. So let's pump the brakes on all the fire LaFleur crap, because this guy is a really damn good head coach, and I think he's going to continue to prove it in the regular season after the bye week.
I'm giving him end of the season before I say that. And
yeah, if they're 7, oh boy, I have to do math now with the tie. I was going to say if they're 7-10. If they're 7-9-1.
Yes.
But then I think you certainly have a case to make.
But I think there can be continual, does decision making improve? Do they clean up the way they've been behaving in games they should win? I think there's a lot riding on Matt LaFleur here, and I think if we're in the spot of the lame duck year that Ed Policy talked about, and let's say they finish 10 wins, how can you sign him to anything more than another 1-year extension?
I don't know. It's a good point by you. I don't think that'll be an issue, right? I do think.
What do you get into the playoffs and you lose in the wild card round?
Again, I have to see how the season plays out before we can really talk about it.
But if we play it out in that scenario, I don't think that's a guy deserving of a long-term.
No, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I'd probably go 2 years, though.
And there's been a distinct change from Matt LaFleur, like in decision-making, that have seemed to have gotten worse. He now goes for it like a lead low on fourth down.
Here's what I think the issue is. I think they're treating Jordan Love with kitty gloves.
Yes.
And for a $55 million quarterback, you can't treat him with kitty gloves.
Yes.
You got to take the training wheels off. And we said this last year, too, despite the injuries to Love. And I think the last 2 weeks specifically have been a perfect example of, I'm not sure how much he's ready to cut Love all the way loose. And it's time. You don't pay a guy $55 million and if he falls flat on his face, fine. But give him the opportunity to fall flat on his face.
I think that's the correct move.
Yeah.
You have to, the NFL is a cutthroat business.
Sure is.
I was implying that at points in the offseason, Ben Johnson was making it pretty clear that the problem on offense was the quarterback and not him and his coaching. Because it's not uncommon for coaches to throw their quarterback under the bus. I remember Mike Zimmer famously doing it to Kirk Cousins,
Absolutely.
who I believe threw the ball away on fourth down in a situation to win the game. And not when and I'm not saying throw it away like he missed his throw. He threw it out of bounds and then just gave up the play.
Yep.
And I think when people realize and the pressure gets hot, I think that is a thing that happens in the NFL. It's either me or you, and that's how people evaluate it. And I think we're at a point now where Matt LaFleur has to give his quarterback the ability to either sink or swim, pass or fail. We are in a situation where it makes the most sense. It is statistically better to go for it in this situation, and we're going to need to throw the ball. And guess what, Jordan? That's on you. Yeah. I can call a good play. I can put you in a good situation. Your job is to complete the pass.
It's up to you now.
And not every decision a guy's going to be open, and we'll deal with it in those situations. But if he puts him in a spot to succeed and Jordan Love doesn't do it, too bad, so sad. That's your quarterback failing you. We can't be pointing the finger back at you consistently going, why aren't you going for it? And him being unwilling to say, well, I'm not sure I trust my quarterback. I think that's what's happening.
To a point.
Yeah, to a degree, because he seems to also strangely trust him a lot at times.
Yes,
and other times he doesn't. Yeah. It seems to be a sliding scale of trust.
Okay, so I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's one I've been needing to have all week. And clearly, a lot of you on YouTube also needed to have this conversation. So I want to run through a bunch of comments that have rolled in over on ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. And if you're listening on the audio side, reminder we do this live 12:30 if you want to get in on the conversation, because stuff like this helps make our conversation better. Let's start with Dr. Denver Dan. He says, to be honest, when Flacco got benched yesterday, or I think it was today, I don't know. It was today. On Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, Adam Schefter broke that news.
Dr. Denver Dan having troubles with his memory.
Is that oh, yeah. I guess there's probably a correlation there, huh, Doc? These Dallas and Cleveland games hurt even more because Flacco got benched. Interesting. I hear you, but Flacco didn't win them that game.
He deserved to be benched after he played the Packers.
Yeah.
And probably, honestly, before that. I don't know.
We're getting Shador before the end of the year, by the way. That's my Cleveland Browns one-off prediction.
If I were to make a bet, Gabriel holds him off.
Okay. Interesting. Chef Ed chimes in. How much longer do we have to keep using the lame excuse? We're the youngest team in the league. I'm going to pause before I read the rest of your comment. I'm not actually using it as an excuse. I'm just saying there might be still some validity to it, even though I've banned that excuse from the show.
So it provides context.
I think there's more validity to it than I wanted to give give air to.
Yes.
At the beginning of the season, through 4 weeks, than I want to admit. Because this is the third year in a row they're the youngest team in the league.
They're going to continue to be,
by
the way.
We have to acknowledge one part about that statistic. This ain't the youngest quarterback in the league. This is his 6th year in the NFL. That is a bona fide veteran. It is. It's his 3rd year starting only, but it's his 6th year in the NFL. So the quarterback cannot be part of that when we make that excuse.
It's also
that is the point I'll make.
There's a lot of guys that are into their 3rd, 4th year in the league and are still just young guys. So,
sure, but
these guys have played. There's a lot of guys that have played a lot of NFL snaps.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Like the Rasheed Walker at left tackle, yes. But when you look at the, maybe not the Darian Kennards necessarily, but the Jordan Morgans of the world, the Anthony Beltons of the world on the offensive line, where you've had so much trouble through 4 weeks, that's where I think it's fair.
I think they're young and experienced, but not veterans.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference there where a lot of guys in the NFL have seen everything and been in every situation, and there is still room for these guys to learn and grow.
And then Chef Ed continues, LaFleur does not have the gonads to be a good head coach. He's too soft. Well, I would stop you again. He is a good head coach. I think you're looking for maybe the word great or elite, which I don't think you can put him in yet. I think that is the cream of the crop, the best of the best. That's the Andy Reids. That's the Kyle Shanahans.
And this goes back to...
I don't know how much longer that list is. Maybe Sean McVay?
This goes back to in the immediate aftermath of the Browns game when I said, I think they're both good, meaning Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. I don't know if they're the right guys to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's too early to tell for me. I think they could be.
And I also think they could not be.
Good talk. Nick asks, if Kyle Shanahan was fired from San Francisco, would you fire LaFleur for him?
Yes.
I would too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an upgrade. Maybe in the margins. I don't know how big of an upgrade it is, but that's a guy who's won the big game, which LaFleur hasn't done yet.
Something tells me he's not going to be fired.
He won't be fired.
Yeah.
The Niners would be dumb to do it.
If he goes anywhere, it's going to be his decision.
The Niners would be dumb to do it. Roberto, Matt LaFleur is too wishy-washy and weak. He lets emotions get to him. The blocked PAT, point after touchdown. And Cowboys getting the football after half made him emotional to go for that late half drive. Aaron and Devontae carried Matt LaFleur for years. He hasn't been an elite coach besides the Malik Willis design games. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's had higher points than just those. I don't think it was Aaron and Devontae. I think his scheme and his fresh ideas helped revitalize Rodgers' career. I think that's just something he's never gotten enough credit for.
Yeah,
despite Rodgers being one of the greatest ever. And this is not to demean Rodgers by any means, because I think even again on Sunday morning in Dublin, you saw that Rodgers still has a little bit of that vintage Rodgers in him as he beat the Vikings with the Steelers on Sunday morning. And he's a great quarterback, but things got stale at the end of McCarthy, and you needed to make the right hire for a guy to come in and help him win back-to-back MVPs. And without LaFleur, I don't think he wins back-to-back MVPs. I just don't. I don't think you could bring in any head coaching candidate and make that happen. I think that was a huge credit to LaFleur. So I think Rodgers carrying him for years is a false narrative.
I'm not going to retrofit how I feel now to what he has accomplished in his past. I think if Matt LaFleur were to be a free agent, he would be one of the hottest, if not the hottest commodity for head coaching openings in 2026 or in 2027. But to his emotions thing, he does have and has a history of letting things get to the point where his team takes on the behavior he has. I think of the time he was incessantly talking about how much they didn't want to go to Europe. And then the team played like they didn't want to be in Europe.
And Rodgers broke his thumb, and then it was a downward spiral.
You've also seen him have explosions on the sideline, which seem to take him out of the game at times. And one bad play can spiral the team for seemingly multiple series at a time. I certainly think his sort of regulation of his emotions and knowing when's the right time, because everyone knows there's a good time to be angry and screaming and get after guys, and there's times where that doesn't work. And it seems like he sort of has let that spin out of control in recent memory.
Look, this has turned into a huge Matt LaFleur conversation, which I got to be honest, I wasn't anticipating, but I've really enjoyed it. It hasn't made me feel a whole lot better, but I've enjoyed the conversation nonetheless, and appreciate all you chiming in on YouTube.
Can you tell I've been thinking about Matt LaFleur a lot this week?
No, not at all. Yeah. And neither have I, clearly. I haven't been defending him one bit this week. Yeah, it's just where we're at, and we're entering a bye week. We're entering a week where he doesn't get to defend himself, really, right? There's no rebounding performance here, so this is going to be our conversation until Sunday the 12th when they play Cincinnati at Lambeau Field, where obviously the Packers are 2-0 this year. So let's move real quickly because we've got several things to hit yet, including one word on what we missed. But I do just briefly want to say this: I am not super worried, but I am slightly concerned about the Packers defense after Sunday. Here's why. I'm not worried about the pass rush, despite only getting to Dak once, and it was for no loss. It was that Micah Parsons sack, I think, in the fourth quarter, where he got him right at the line of scrimmage. It's a cool play, good moment for Micah, but that was the only time the Packers pass rush got to him. And I am not worried about the Packers pass rush, despite playing a shredded offensive line with injuries, just like the Packers were. I think the pressure got to him. I thought Dak played a magnificent game.
It was great.
I thought Dak Prescott was awesome.
I think
what I am worried about.
Best pro football focused grade of any quarterback for Dak.
Shout out Shoddy.
And also, to add context to that, the best player graded overall for the whole entire weekend, Micah Parsons.
I did see that.
See, almost
So
like an elite pass rusher doesn't really
consistency.
impact the quarterback that much in the game, huh?
We're not doing that. I'm not worried about the pass rush. I'm a little bit worried about the cornerbacks. Yes, I am worried. I've been worried about the cornerbacks. This was just the first time they've kind of gotten exposed. I'm a little bit worried about the linebackers and Jeff Hafley's design on scheming those guys. I thought Quay Walker had a great game.
One of his best.
Cooper did not.
No, I think he was a little better than.
Where was he?
He missed a few tackles. I did take note of that. I did see PFF graded him out better than I had anticipated because he wasn't making as large of an impact. And that's take it or leave it. They could be wrong. They could be right. I'm not going back and breaking down the film and watching specific guys.
Let me be very clear. I ain't watching that game back.
So that's just the piece of information I'm going off of. I think the main factor, there's two main factors. The pass rush didn't get home in a way it had in previous weeks. Mm-hmm. I think that is influenced by two things. Dak Prescott got the ball out of his hand really fast, multiple occasions. Michael Parsons flat out won a ton, and it just didn't really matter all that much because the ball was out of Dak's hand that fast. I thought Dak played extremely well. I think if his team was better, we'd be talking about him as an MVP. That's how good he's played.
I mean, I still think he's in the conversation.
Thus far. No? Yeah, you just can't win it if your team's not good. That's like, if your team's not a 10, 11,
what is the record at 1-2-1? Are they 1-2-1?
Yes, Hunter would know better probably.
1-2-1, and they've got a chance here to rattle off like 4 wins in a row. So they might actually be
the same thing Will did 2 weeks ago. Here we go again.
Here comes the win streak.
Yeah. Yep. You just watch.
I do think that's a main factor. So, as Frankie Winters like to say, those guys get paid too. Mm-hmm. They are still professionals, and the offense for the Cowboys has been good, except for the game in which they lost CeeDee Lamb, which I understand. Their offense pretty much entirely runs through CeeDee Lamb, and once you lose him, you're going to have a hard time moving the ball. The second factor is it seemed like the coverage approach changed. It seemed like the Packers' corners and linebackers were playing more passive. Where in the 3 weeks previous, we had seen sort of an attacking of, we're going to sit on these routes and make them throw it past us and beat us deep. Mm-hmm. Now, the Cowboys do have a little more talent in terms of guys who can get open down the field. They have a lot of speed as well. They're not particularly, aside from George Pickens, there's no like household names there, but fast guys matter, and they always will in the NFL. And it seemed like Jeff Hafley didn't have his best game as a defensive play caller.
He didn't.
And I think those two things combined to sort of a situation where it all spun out of control. The approach they had taken to start the game and they thought was going to be a winning one was not. And then, let's be honest, George Pickens made some plays.
Absolutely. Yeah, he had a good
game. Sometimes there's individual performances where you just got to tip your cap. That catch down the sideline with 2 guys in coverage, incredible. The play that Valentine missed, still, in that situation, everyone thought you catch that ball and you probably turn out of bounds.
Yep.
And he said, no, I'm bigger and stronger than Carrington Valentine. So even if he gets his hands on me, I can probably break this tackle. And that's what happened. So it was 2 pretty incredible individual performances from their quarterback and wide receiver, and probably not the best defensive scheme. I also thought Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare were nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and Matthew points this out on YouTube. Devontae Wyatt going out of that game certainly didn't help their pass rush.
Yeah, the run game looked really good from the moment he went out.
Yep, it sure did. So, Dan the man chimes in. Strouf, I have a place for rent for you in Worrytown. After I say I'm slightly worried about the Packers defense. We'll talk more about the defense. I had the Friday or next week as we get ready for Cincinnati, but that's just where I'm at right now, and I did not allow myself enough time to break it down in depth.
I see here Matthew talking about Devontae Wyatt, and I do think, even though we just mentioned him, because of the depth and lack of depth of trading, well, I was talking about the depth being poor behind him.
Yes.
So, yes, Nazir Stackhouse was horrendous. If you get a second, go to our friend Justice Mosqueda's Twitter account and watch him pass rush and trying to defend the run. Bad.
Well, that's why you don't often like to play UDFAs in the first quarter
Correct.
of the season. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Will Brinson make his appearance. Because if you're giving Stackhouse a significant amount of snaps at this point, what?
Warren Brinson.
Does that come Will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is Will Brinson? That's somebody, isn't it?
That's a professional athlete somewhere. Will, is that?
Will's just in your head.
Wait, is Will Brinson the guy that was traded as a Brewer at one point? No, Will Brinson's a writer. Lewis Brinson.
Will Brinson, CBS Sports. That's why I know that name, yeah.
Lewis Brinson is the former Brewer who was traded, I believe, in the deal, correct me if I'm wrong here, Hunter, for Christian Yelich?
That sounds correct. By the way, I looked up Will Brinson as you guys were talking about that. Dude needs to keep the beard. There's some pictures of him with a beard and without it. There's certain people in this world that just always need to have a beard. Will Brinson, one of those guys.
Lewis
Brinson was indeed in the Christian Yelich trade alongside Eisen Diaz,
Also,
Monte Harrison, and Jordan Yamamoto.
And the other name in that, I believe Monte Harrison is now playing college football as like a 28-year-old.
I think so.
You're absolutely
Arizona
right.
State.
He is a wide receiver at Arkansas.
I'm on it today.
Born in 1995, 30 years old, wears number 82, and he is a true freshman. 30 years old. Or excuse me, he is a sophomore.
I might have gotten Warren Brinson's name wrong, but it opened a flood of memories.
Wow. Monte Harrison, I'm pretty sure I covered him for a short time period at the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers in
I'm
Appleton.
sure you would have been.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
2015. Yeah, that was one of the years I covered him. I didn't know he was now playing college football. That's fascinating.
I saw that like a week or two before the season. And then it like triggered the Brewers really won that trade.
Big time. Yeah, big time. Monte Harrison, college football, though. That's crazy. Okay, he's got to be one of the oldest D1 players, I would guess.
Right now I have Will in my ear.
Sorry. I thought I was talking in Maddie's ear. There was a play in the baseball game, and I think the guy was out.
All right, if you've worked here long enough, you would understand all of these
safe.
mics are connected. All right, we're not doing this right now. What we are doing is Wednesday. We need Will to lock in, even though he left for half the show.
He's out.
To do my job.
And
he was out.
It is time now for One Word Wednesday. Hunter has a short list of topics. Me, Josh, and Will will respond to those topics with one word, maybe more. All right, here we go. It's time now for One Word Wednesday.
Heather Dinich of ESPN reported earlier today that the Superdome in New Orleans will host the 2028 College Football National Championship.
Bourbon.
Unhopeful.
Fair point.
Boring. I feel like all the national championships are in like Georgia or Florida. When are we going to get one at like Lucas Oil Stadium or something like that?
Slow down a minute. A couple things there. All of them are in Florida or Georgia.
Except for the ones that are in California.
Where is the
Nevada.
Superdome located, Will?
New Orleans?
Which is in what state?
I said Louisiana.
Also, 2027's
I said down south.
2027 is in Vegas, by the way.
There you go, Will.
When are we going to get one up north in the Midwest?
We got a Super Bowl. It was in Minnesota.
Yeah, they might
this is
do
the
one in
national
Minnesota,
championship, though.
but
And every person that went talked about how terrible it was.
yes. Continuing on, as we already kind of talked about this, but Dillon Gabriel has been named the Browns starting quarterback.
What was your word for the last one?
Unhopeful.
Unhopeful.
I'm going to hyphenate a word. No Shador. Interesting that a guy who declined the opportunity to be the backup in Baltimore, now with Lamar Jackson missing multiple weeks, is still third string behind Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and then Shador Sanders.
I'm going potential. I see him winning a couple games here. Good defense, a little bit of change on offense, some pace, some youth.
Cleveland guy.
Yeah. I think he's catering to one singular person.
Oh, by
in
the way,
studio.
for those of you that are
Yes.
listening hours later, he was safe at third.
Is that why they're
He's out. It was
walking
overturned.
off the field?
So yeah, see that it says safe at third base, call overturn.
Oh, baseball guy.
I was confused.
Yeah, see that.
Clearly.
It's good. That was defense.
Sure was.
Good defense.
Yep, sure was.
ESPN college football writers ranked all 68 of the Power 4 QBs. I need
I
the
don't
number
wanna hear
where you
this.
think Billy Edwards Jr. and Danny O'Neill both ranked together. They put both of them together.
61.
You said it's 68?
Yes.
65.
I'm also going to go 65. I just think the 3 Service Academy quarterbacks are lower than that.
One of you is only off by 1.
It's 60?
No, it is 62.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awful.
They were ahead.
Who's below him?
The quarterback for North Carolina, both of the quarterbacks for West Virginia, Syracuse's backup quarterback who has had to start games because of an injury, and they're one spot below DJ Lagway, who's a 5-star quarterback for Florida, and Florida fans were saying should have been the starter over Graham Mertz last year. But, look at that. Maybe Graham Mertz is good. One final one. Some NFL trade rumors that Max Crosby may be traded to the Dallas Cowboys before the deadline.
Okay, so here's the thing. You sent this to us last night. It was like a no-name Twitter account. It's not a real rumor.
No, there are actually other accounts that, like, the Cowboys have called about him.
0%.
Cope.
Ricky. Where's Pretty Ricky when you need him?
The dude signed a contract extension this offseason. It's not getting traded now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how prohibitive that extension would be in trying to trade it. Because I would imagine he's on the hook for a lot of money from the Las Vegas Raiders.
I said that was the last one.
Oh, I missed that.
Thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. First, you guys don't tell me that the Cowboys-Packers game is close. Now you don't listen to me. You're just a bad friend.
I did tell you it was close. I did. Mm-hmm. In the fourth quarter, like you asked on Friday's show. I did exactly what you asked.
You should have been looking out for me and told me sooner.
That's not my fault.
I just wish you guys cared.
This is
you guys clearly don't care about me, and that's all this is.
Speaking of cope.
Yes, this is a guy who knows he made a bad mistake. He knows his stubbornness led him to a bad decision. And now instead of saying, hand up, I should have watched the game, we get a lash out.
To be fair, I looked back at the text chain, and the only text before the game got close was Josh telling Hunter that the Cowboys did a fullback draw on 3rd and 12.
They did do that.
If I read that, I would not watch the game at all. I would not even consider turning it on.
Yeah, but that's also something that happened. And I feel like it's a fair update. Hey, Hunter, while you edit your TikTok,
your team is running fullback draws. That was when their offense looked like it couldn't get anything going. That was shortly before disaster took place.
All right, time now for what we missed and what we learned, which is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in Door County. I love Door County Distillery. I love their bourbon. It's my personal favorite, but all their whiskeys are good. Their single malt, their rye, their bourbon. The brandy's really good. Cherry brandy infused with local Door County cherries. If you're mixing up old fashions, good brandy. They've got other flavors of brandy as well, but cherry, obviously, with the Door County cherry seems like a natural plug. Gin, rum, vodka, all the in-between. They've got you covered for whatever you got going on. Tailgates, if you're going to like a corn maze, you need a little extra pep in your step. Spice it up with Door County Distillery. This is their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Check out the retailer nearest you, as well as a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. You're not a corn maze guy, are you?
No, not particularly. Haunted corn maze, out on that.
Fair.
I will do the apple orchard pumpkin patch thing.
No.
Well, isn't that the same thing? Aren't there usually corn mazes there?
There is, but not always.
Got it. Okay. I actually want to start
Did you say no?
I'm out on all fall activities. Those sound like the most boring
Spoken
thing.
like a
I'd rather
single
go to
guy.
Costco with Hunter.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to Costco with Hunter.
We're both wearing our flannels today, me and Joshy are, because it's officially fall. It's October 1st today. You need a girlfriend. That's what I've come to the determination of.
I became in love with going to the apple orchard because we pick up apples. A delicious apple dessert gets made. And then there's all sorts of other pickled and apple-based products there that we then have some snacks. It's a beautiful time.
Someday you'll grow up.
I don't care.
Jacobson Apple Orchard's my favorite.
Shout out to Jacobson, Kevin Jacobson, Appleman.
The Appleman.
From Jacobson Orchards. I played him in the KBN Listeners League this week. I was 0-3 entering that matchup. He decided to just drop Chase Brown right before Monday night, solidifying my win. And now I have Chase Brown on my team because I also had the top waiver. Uh-oh. Yeah, I did it. Damn it.
Strouf. No one cares. You tell us all the time, and you can't follow your own rules. What is wrong with you?
This is your most Ben Brust trait. He only finds other people's fantasy uninteresting.
Which other people probably should feel about me. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, it's fair.
Right, but you think it's implicitly interesting to everyone else because you're involved.
No, I just, yes, but no, but yes.
You have a hard time drawing the line of, well, but if I say it, what if it's interesting?
Will, what'd you learn today?
I don't know how in depth you guys want me to get with this one, but I didn't like
as in depth as possible.
I'm going to say it before I'll give you another chance to answer that. I didn't know exactly what hemorrhoids were.
Now, I need a definition, and I need it used in a sentence.
So, the definition: hemorrhoids are swollen and inflamed veins in the rectum and anus.
It's true. That is what they are. Yeah. Sometimes they pop too.
Blood everywhere.
Blood.
Yep.
This is disgusting.
Yeah, it happens. So it's real.
What are the causes?
Strouf, didn't you say you got him at the NFL draft?
I did, yeah. We did.
Typically, I believe it's straining and sitting on the toilet too long are the main causes.
Yeah, and I mean, so sitting on the toilet too long, A, and B, if you wipe too much or wipe poorly, can lead to that, and that's what happened to me.
He's not speaking from experience.
Certainly not speaking from experience from my week in Green Bay during the NFL draft. No, definitely not. So, yeah. Yeah, first time and only time I've ever had them. Not fun. Not fun when you wipe and you go, what is this blood? Yeah, gross. Anyway.
Care to use it in a sentence, Will?
Do I need to still?
Yeah.
I think Strouf just did. After a prolonged session on the potty, Strouf experienced hemorrhoidal pain.
Well, no, but I'll give it to you.
That works.
Josh says
I don't
yes.
think hemorrhoidal is a word, but we'll give it to him.
Above and beyond. I changed the tense.
Yeah, I don't know if hemorrhoidal is a word, but I understood what he said.
I took a leap.
Yeah.
I took a sit.
You took a swipe at it.
Okay, enough. One final thing we missed
Nice.
yesterday at Wrigley Field. We had a Green Bay sucks chant breakout, which for some reason it's not allowing me to play here from my little desktop. But
What do you mean?
I'm playing a video right now, but it's not working.
Well, would that help either of any of the people on the show or listening?
Yeah, I mean, it could have.
It would help the listeners, but it's okay. I didn't prepare.
Told your
it. It's,
producer you wanted to play that.
There's actually, if we got enough time and we can fill here, Will, if you go into News Boss, I pulled that audio.
Wow.
I'm sitting in my News Boss near the top. But we're going to need to be professionals here and cover for Will for a few seconds until then. But I've learned that this happens like all the time at any Chicago event.
Because I feel like I've talked about it 7 times in the last 3 months.
And let me be...
Good job, Will.
And let me be clear about it. I've certainly have heard the Bears still suck chant in non-Bears related situations, but it's few and far between.
It's not this common. And also, you just won a playoff game.
Your
mind's not even on the right sport.
Yeah, I heard it.
On the right sport.
You beat the Padres.
I took my dad to a Blackhawks game in January, and they just beat Vegas, one of the few games they actually won that year. and fans outside of the United Center were chanting Green Bay sucks. It was really pathetic.
So here's where we need to go is to Will, because Will is towing a tough line here. He is a Bears fan, but he's a White Sox fan. But he's a Chicago guy who dislikes the Packers. Where do we come in on this one?
So to understand this, I think you need to know where it originates from. So on the walk, the 2-mile walk from the parking lots at Soldier Field to Soldier Field itself, there's a tunnel, and it's like the last sort of like landmark until you get up into the gates of the stadium. And it's kind of like the tradition has been anytime you go under or through the tunnel, you just chant Green Bay sucks. And then when you get out of the tunnel, you stop. Like, it's just when you're under the tunnel, you start that chant. And now it has branched out into other sporting events. And I think it's just a good...
concerts.
Yeah, it's just a good way for, we're miserable. So we got to commiserate with each other by, bringing other people down, bringing other fan bases down.
Hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people.
And that's what happened here.
Yeah.
It is like...
I know fan bases can be petty. They can do stuff. It's just so common in Chicago. It does take me back. We certainly are not above trolling Cubs fans, Bears fans, all of that. Mm-hmm. But I haven't left a Brewers game in my life where a Bears still suck chant broke out.
I have not either.
I'm sure it's happened.
I'm sure it has.
But it's certainly not as common as it seems to be in Chicago.
I would talk bad about it, but when you're in the middle of one, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, whatever. Well, last thing for you. MLB playoffs obviously underway. We've got one game in the books. Cubs hold a 1-0 lead on the Padres. Game 2 starts in about a half an hour from right now as we are live. If the Cubs do win that series, it will be Cubs and Brewers starting on Saturday. Now, the schedule for Saturday has been kind of announced. It's dependent on the Yankees-Red Sox series. If the Yankees do end up winning that series, the Cubs or Padres and the Brewers will be the first game on Saturday. That'll be a 1:08 p.m. Central Local Time first pitch. If the Red Sox, though, advance, and they do have a 1-0 lead right now on the Yankees in that series after a win last night, the Brewers would move all the way from the first game of the day to the last game of the day. It would be an 8:08 p.m. Central first pitch time against the winner of the Padres and the Cubs. So this schedule is completely dependent on the Yankees and Red Sox, which should surprise no one, but it still makes me a little bit upset. All right, that does it for us today. We will be back with you Friday to preview whoever the Brewers get in the NLDS beginning Saturday at AmFam Field. We will also make our what week we're in, 5 picks.
Yeah, shout out the Packers. We're all going to have ties on our record for the rest of the season now. Just kind of annoying.
Uglying up
Also, I'm a game behind everyone now.
Yeah, me, Strouf, and Josh are all tied, and Hunter's in last.
Great.
Do you think our extended conversation on Matt LaFleur and the Packers alleviated some of your angst, or it exacerbated them?
Talk to you guys on Friday. Peace.